What's up, everybody? Today we're doing another movie review, and I embarked on a Marvel rewatch starting back from the beginning of my childhood roots, X-Men 2000, at the ripe age of 1. No, I probably saw this movie years later, probably when it was on TV, maybe an FX type of movie, but the first time I have vivid memories of the first time seeing this movie and absolutely loving Hugh Jackman. You know what I mean? There was other characters in this movie too. Sure, Storm, Cyclops, Jean Grey, all great. Patrick Stewart, Sir Patrick Stewart as Charles Xavier, excellent. Sir Ian McKellen as Magneto, excellent. The way that Sabretooth looked, excellent. Maybe not the best eyeballs. They made him like black. Ray Park Toad, inspired choice to have Darth Maul be your Toad, but alright, I liked it. But in 2000, this was groundbreaking stuff. This is where it all really starts. Kevin Feige's a young producer on this movie, and he, probably gave a lot of tips to this movie, like, hey, maybe we should do this, But, a lot of people didn't like the black suits, they wanted the more comic book accurate suits, but this movie had to walk so that the Marvel now could run, we have Moon Knight in a comic accurate suit, we have Captain America in a comic accurate suit, we have Spider-Man in a comic accurate suit, we have people that are much more close to their comic accurate suit, and I just talked recently on the last Comically Boston about how Deadpool 3 is going to be having Hugh Jackman come back all these years later, 24 years after his first appearance as Wolverine. He's coming back as Wolverine, and he's finally getting his comic book accurate suit. That is insane to think about. So I'm going back and checking out all the old work that got me into this stuff in the first place. Some of it's not all great, like the Fantastic Four movies, but hey, I loved Chris Evans in that movie. He's had lines in that movie that I still repeat today, so we'll get to that when we get to it. But this opening scene with Hugh Jackman smoking the cigar in the boxing ring, or in the cage, and people are fighting him, and you just see this chink, bink, he headbutts them, you hear the metal in him. This is before we actually get the background story in X-Men 2 of what happened to Logan, how he got here. He doesn't even really know who he is at this point. He's going by Wolverine and Logan, but he has no idea who he is. And I know people hated the movie years later, X-Men Origins, but with child eyes that weren't, as equipped to see things that are wrong with movies, I loved that movie, but I was only seeing the Hugh Jackman Wolverine character that I love, and seeing how he came to be, how he got his adamantium skeleton. And I loved the opening scenes of that movie, where he's back in World War II, but he looks the exact same, showing that he doesn't age like everybody else. Lee Shriver's Sabretooth I liked so much more, where he's got these claws, and he's running, and there's certain things about that movie that aren't great. Obviously, Deadpool, not great, he looks terrible in that movie. I much rather prefer the Deadpool we got now, but just the actual character of Wolverine is who I love that movie for. It's not all the rest going on. Will.i.am's pretty funny in that movie as well, but in this first one, there's just so much going on for it, and this same guy that's in this hallway, not so jacked, and a young Hugh Jackman, this was the guy that I was I saw myself in it, because at this point, he wasn't the stud that he was, say, in X-Men or X-Men Wolverine. Look at this chiseled man. At this point, he has now become what guys are looking to in Hollywood to become ripped. Everyone's all right, we need to be ripped on camera. Let's call Hugh and see what he did. And he goes, I work the fuck out, and then when we go to shoot, I dehydrate myself so all the water's out of you, the muscles come to the skin, and then you just, you just get so angry. Your muscles are poking out, and I absolutely love Wolverine. He's probably my favorite character out of all time Marvel characters, but if I have to be honest, I probably have top 3, and they're all tied for number 1. Wolverine, Incredible Hulk, Spider-Man. Those were my guys. The Ang Lee Hulk that I'm going to be talking about in the next video, one of my favorite movies of all time. it just, like the Hulk just having a brain and being a smart scientist and having this accident happen to you, and then all of a sudden you have the monster that's been inside of you the whole time finally gets to put his hand in the wheel and take off, and you're like, wow, I'm gonna die because this giant anger monster is gonna kill everything. And then all of a sudden he shrinks back down, he's human again, until he gets angry again. Or when we find out in Avengers that he's just always angry. Shit happens, you know? Like, but X-Men, the first movie I gave in the year of 2000, X-Men 1 came out, and it had to have gotten a review score. So I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I think it still holds up today. You know, there's some parts that don't look great, but hey, Ian McKellen, the relationship between him and Charles Xavier, where it all started with Wolverine, I loved it. I loved it, you know, it could have been better, but for the time when it came out, it was what I got. And I didn't even know what comic books were at this point. You know, I was a young kid when this came out. Like, I was literally 1 when it came out. I couldn't even tell you when I saw it. It was probably, you know, probably 2004 or 5 when I finally, it was like, oh, superheroes. Like, because around the same time, Spider-Man's coming out, the Ang Lee's Hulk's coming out, and then by 2008, I'm in theaters watching Iron Man. So I am watching movies before. So like, I'm not quite sure the timetable of when I exactly saw this, but as a kid, I loved it. As an adult, still love it. But I think I'm just in love with Hugh Jackman. Like, he's just my guy, you know. He's always been the guy, and if once they recast Wolverine, I hope he's fantastic. I'll probably love that character too, but I think the reason they're bringing back Hugh Jackman is because he was so perfectly cast as Wolverine, even though he's not comic book accurate. The comic book accurate Wolverine is a short little guy. Hugh Jackman's pretty big, you know, like, but I love that they changed that. They made him big, they made him aggressive, but Hugh Jackman smoking cigars, having an attitude, telling people to fuck off, like, that was my guy. Like, I've always loved that character, and I'm gonna have a great time rewatching these X-Men movies for that character alone, even all the way to like X-Men First Class and X-Men Apocalypse. Like, I still really love Hugh Jackman, you know, like Days of Future Past. Like, that's one of the most underrated X-Men movies in my opinion. X-Men The Last Stand I liked as a kid, not so much as an adult, but hey, we'll get into those when I have to rewatch it. I haven't watched that movie in a long time, but there is one line I remember that from that movie: "I'm the Juggernaut, bitch," you know, and she, "Why you wear that helmet? Keeps my face pretty." You know, and you're like, just certain lines like that will live rent-free in my head forever. But hey, comment below, what was your thoughts on this X-Men from 2000? Was it your favorite movie? Was it the worst movie you've ever seen? I would love to know your thoughts, but good or bad. Comment down below, or send them to me on Twitter, and I'll leave my links in the description below. Check out my letterbox for the full review I left on this movie. All links in the description below. Smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, hit that bell so you don't miss any future movie reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next video, where we'll be talking about 2003's Ang Lee's Hulk. And we'll see you then. Peace.